Hans Hermann Alexander was born on the 6th of May 1917, 15 minutes before his twin brother Paul, at his parents' expansive apartment on the Kaiserallee in West Berlin. The two boys were wartime babies, conceived when their father, Dr. Alfred Alexander, was on leave from the military hospital he ran in the town of Zabern in German Alsace. Shortly after their births, Alfred sent for his family, his wife Henny, his two young daughters Bella and Elsie, and his new twin sons, to join him at the front. It was a dangerous decision, with the hospital so close to the battlefield, but Alfred insisted. The family was reunited for 18 months, enough time for both girls to attend a local school. At the end of October 1918, with the war's end fast approaching, Alsace partisans threatened to storm the hospital. The doctor had only a few hours to transport all of his patients and his family to the railway station. It was exhausting work, but Alfred and his hospital staff proved up to the task, and not a single patient was left behind. They were aboard the last train heading back to Berlin. The family only made it as far as Ulm, 60 miles east of Stuttgart. Inspired by the revolution that had swept Russia the year before, workers' committees had taken over the Ulm railway lines and were calling not only for the end of the war, but for Kaiser Wilhelm II's abdication. Similar violent protests had erupted around the country. Sailors mutinied in the northern port of Kiel, refusing to set sail for battle. A left-wing council had forced the King of Bavaria to step down, and a People's Republic had been declared. And thousands of workers were staging violent protests across Berlin. The train was backed out of the station and shunted towards Frankfurt, where the family took refuge with Henny's parents until the way was clear. When the Alexanders finally reached the capital in early December, they were greeted with scenes of chaos. 3 weeks earlier, on the 9th of November 1918, Kaiser Wilhelm's abdication had been announced, and the German Empire officially came to an end. Since then, a loose alliance between Social Democrats and members of the armed forces had filled the political vacuum, led by the Social Democrat Friedrich Ebert. But this provisional government was unable to maintain order for long. Left-wing radicals took to the streets, seeking a swifter pace of change, while right-wing groups, angered at the loss of the war, formed informal units and fought battles with the communists and workers' committees. In response, the military created brigades of recently demobilized veterans to suppress the left-wing uprising. Their brutality did little more than fan the flames of revolt. It was too dangerous to go out at night. Food was scarce, and Alfred was unable to resurrect his medical practice, given the violence erupting across the city. To make matters worse, the economy, already ruined by 4 years of war, looked set to collapse. The external situation felt like a pressurized drum ready to explode, but inside the Alexander apartment, all was calm and in good order. It didn't take Henny long to remove the sheets from the furniture, to wipe down the walls, and to restock the pantry as best she could. Within a few days, it once again felt like home. For the 19-month-old Hans and Paul, the apartment was the center of their world, and regardless of the volatility outside, they set about exploring it. The Alexander residence took up the entire first floor of 219 to 220 Kaiserallee, midway between Schaperstrasse and the junction of Spichenstrasse and Regensburger Strasse. The Kaiserallee was one of the smartest addresses in Berlin, and a road that served as a main artery of the city, running as it did from the working-class Friedenau district in the south all the way to the affluent Wilmersdorf district in the northwest. The apartment was vast, even by the generous standards of the area. In total, it had 22 rooms, including 5 bedrooms, 3 living rooms, 1 bathroom, 2 rooms for the maids, and a large kitchen. The apartment doubled as Dr. Alexander's consultancy rooms, and it was in the new year that he started seeing his patients in the salon just off the front hallway. The front room was as wide as the entire apartment, large enough to comfortably seat 40 people for dinner, and had 2 balconies overlooking the Kaiserallee. The front door of the building was 2 stories.